When we picture a modern war, we usually imagine this like massive clash of titans, tanks rolling across plains, fighter jets screaming overhead.
Yeah, a complete symmetry of destruction, right?
Right. But you look at the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War, and that picture just totally shatters. I mean, you have a highly trained professional military on one side, and on the other, a guy in a traditional lungia holding a World War II era rifle. So, our mission in today's deep dive is to uncover the surprising, lesser known tactical facts about the Mukti Bahini, the guerrilla force that actually took on that professional military.
Exactly. And looking at our stack of sources today, which ranges from military digests to translated resistance manifestos, it's a really fascinating study in unconventional tactics. Though we should definitely say up front, we aren't here to take political sides on what is a very charged history.
Yeah, absolutely not. We're just looking at how this guerrilla force actually pulled off the impossible based strictly on the material in front of us.
Well, let's jump right into the sheer scale of the Mukti Bahini, because it's just staggering. I mean, they swell to over 100,000 fighters. That makes them the second largest guerrilla force of the 20th century, right behind the Viet Cong.
Wait, really? But honestly, I'm kind of stuck on the logistics here. Because if you have 100,000 people, how do you possibly arm them against a modern military equipped with, U.S.-made tanks? You can't just order that online.
No, you definitely can't. It basically comes down to extreme, almost desperate resourcefulness. So defecting Bengali regiments would bring their standard-issue weapons over to the resistance.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and beyond that, they became masters at looting enemy stockpiles. Their standard kit was incredibly minimalist. We're talking a lingi, a gamcha, which is a traditional woven towel, and maybe like a single grenade and a looted rifle.
Man, talk about traveling light. But then you contrast that massive ground force with their literal air force, which was codenamed Kilo Flight. Our sources say it consisted of exactly 3 aircraft, 1 Dakota, 1 Otter, and just a single Alouette helicopter.
Yeah, and keep in mind, the Dakota and Otter are essentially just unarmed civilian transport planes.
Right, not exactly fighter jets.
Not at all. They took that single civilian helicopter and literally welded rocket pods onto it just so they could go up against a professional air force.
Which is insane. But I guess if they had basically 0 air power, they must have used the geography to their advantage, right? It kind of reminds me of Russia's famous General Winter stopping Napoleon. Did they have like a general monsoon?
They absolutely did, and they weaponized it perfectly. So here is how they did it. They would deliberately blow up culverts and small bridges on elevated roads.
Just completely destroying the infrastructure.
Exactly. Because imagine you were driving a heavy mechanized tank in a convoy. Suddenly the bridge ahead is gone, and you are trapped on an asphalt island completely surrounded by deep, impassable mud.
Oh, wow. So because the roads were just mud traps, the Pakistani military was forced to rely on the rivers to move their supplies, which I'm guessing the Mukti Bahini totally anticipated.
Precisely. And that waterlogged geography birthed something really extraordinary. Sector 10, which was a unique naval commando unit. And the craziest part is it was founded by just 8 deserting Pakistani submarine sailors.
Wait, hold on. 8 sailors training an entire combat unit. The sources say they had almost 500 combat swimmers. How do you even train that many civilians in secret in the middle of a war zone?
It was a massive logistical feat, honestly. They set up covert training camps right in the river networks, teaching 457 civilians to use limpet mines.
And a limpet mine is basically a magnetic explosive, right?
Right, exactly. The swimmer dives into the murky water, manually sticks into the hull of an enemy ship right below the waterline, and then just swims away. During Operation Jackpot, these swimmers destroyed an astonishing 100,000 tons of enemy shipping.
So they effectively just paralyzed the maritime supply lines. But, the unconventional warfare didn't stop in the rural mud and rivers. It actually bled directly into the concrete capital. The sources detail this group called the Crack Platoon.
Ah, yes, the Crack Platoon.
Yeah, they were a squad of upper-middle-class university students who bombed Dhaka's Intercontinental Hotel.
And what's really crucial here is why they bombed it. Because, it wasn't for territorial gain at all. The hotel actually housed international journalists.
Oh, so they were trying to send a message.
Exactly. The occupying forces were trying to project this illusion to the global press that the region was pacified and completely normal. So the Crack Platoon blew up that facade, literally, to force international intervention.
Wow. Psychological warfare at its finest.
Absolutely. And, peering closer at the demographics reveals another hidden layer to all this, which is women.
Right. The sources mentioned their involvement wasn't just limited to smuggling weapons under Saris.
Yeah, women served as direct combatants on the front lines, actually taking up arms. People like the highly decorated fighter Taraman Bibi.
So, to sum this all up, the Mukti Bahini essentially paralyzed a professional military machine. They used monsoon mud to trap tanks, urban university students to break the psychological stronghold, and like a retrofitted three-aircraft air force to just do the impossible.
It really is a masterclass in asymmetric warfare. But there's a paradox in our sources that I'd actually love for you to mull over.
Oh, I love a good paradox. Let's hear it.
Well, despite the massive, undeniable success of those naval commandos back in 1971, the modern Bangladesh military surprisingly lacks a dedicated riverine warfare doctrine today. I mean, why do modern nations so often abandon the unconventional tactics that originally secured their freedom?
That is such a fascinating thought to end on. You know, we started off picturing that classic clash of titans, but maybe the most powerful weapon in your arsenal isn't a tank or a jet. Maybe it's just knowing how to use the mud and the water right in front of you.